Right, with Liverpool and Arsenal battling out this weekend, I thought what better way to start off the preview for the game by doing a combined 11. So here is my Arsenal and Liverpool combined 11. So we'll start off in goal. And now I do feel for Raya in this situation purely because Alisson is the best keeper right now on the planet. Like, there is no discussion. Raya has been absolutely immense for Arsenal, and there were a lot of question marks when Arteta kind of came in and decided that he was going to push Ramsdale aside and he's going to bring in David Raya. But let's be honest, Raya has been great, but he's not on Alisson's level. There's no one in the Premier League on Alisson's level. He's in a world of his own right now. But don't get me wrong, David Raya's had a very good season, but it's probably the easiest one on this list, Alisson in goal. Now on to right back, and also, sorry, I'm just going to say as well, this combined 11 is without injuries. I'm ignoring injuries currently. So right back, the choices are Ben White, Tomiyasu, or Trent Alexander-Arnold, and maybe Bradley. Bradley's been really good recently. So my two would probably be between Trent and Bradley. I'm not convinced that Ben White as a fullback. I don't think he offers enough going forward. Tomiyasu, great defender, but not good enough for me again when you're comparing it to Trent and Bradley. I think Trent has been and is probably the best right back right now on the planet. I am obsessed with the bloke, and all the question marks and people discussing whether he's good enough defensively, I think it's just a narrative. I think he's absolutely unreal, and he has to go in straight away at right back. Bradley has also been really good, but let's be honest, Trent is on another level. Attacking wise, defending, he's got absolutely everything. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, he has to play for England in this Euros coming up. Now onto the centre-back pairing. Now this one's a really interesting one because I think there's three defenders that we can talk about straight away as probably being arguably the best three in the league currently this season. We've got Virgil van Dijk, Saliba, and Konate. All three of them have been absolutely integral to their defences. And I think what's the biggest point I want to talk about is Konate. Konate, I think, has really stepped up. For me, he kind of had an odd mistake in him. I thought sometimes he was irrational, but he's really matured as a defender, and I think he's absolutely huge for Liverpool. And he is such a good partnership with Van Dijk, and I think that's another reason why Van Dijk has really stepped up this season. I think he's been helped by the fact that he got Konate giving him a little lift up, getting a little leg up to next to him. But yeah, Konate's been absolutely unreal. But we've got to talk about Saliba. Saliba is and has been unreal since he's joined Arsenal. Let's be honest, he is probably one of the best defenders in the league and the best defenders in the world. I have absolutely loved watching him play. The way he moves across and kind of sweeps up when anyone makes a mistake, he's so good. He's great on the ball. He's good in the air. I think he's the perfect centre-back, and I think he's very similar with Van Dijk. I think the two of them are both the perfect centre-backs. I think as a partnership, they'd be immense because Saliba is great with those aerial duels and when he's covering, as I said, and he sweeps up and reads the game really well. And then you've got Van Dijk's passing range as well. I think the two of them would be a match made in heaven. So I'm going to go for them too. No disrespect to Konate, I think he's been amazing this season, but I just think Saliba and Van Dijk are slightly clear of him. So now onto the left back position. The choices are Zinchenko or Andrew Robertson. Now this one, Andy Robertson, is a really difficult one. I speak about it quite often. I really like him as a defender. I think he kind of goes unnoticed in this side because Trent gets all the plaudits because of him being Scouse himself, coming through the system. And also, you've got the English tax on top. I think Andy Robertson is absolutely unreal. Probably one of the left-backs we've seen in the recent era in the Premier League. Before that, I can't think of any other players since Ashley Cole to be as good as he is at left-back. I think he's absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, I think Zinchenko's a good defender, but I don't think he's quite there as a left-back. I look at him and I think you can kind of see why Pep got rid of him. Like, you can see he's kind of rough around the edges. I'm still not convinced of as a left back, because I know that wasn't his original position. He was a number 10, then dropped into midfield and then moved out to left back. But I'm still not convinced. I understand the way that Arteta plays with his defenders kind of coming in and Zinchenko playing as that extra midfielder. But as a left back, I think Andy Robertson's clear in my opinion. So now on to the midfield three. Now this is a really interesting one. There's a lot of players that we can throw into the hat here. We've got Szoboszlai, we've got Curtis Jones, we've got Harvey Elliott, we've got Declan Rice, we've got McAllister, we've got Partey, we've got Odegaard, we've got Trossard when he plays in there. There's a lot of players that we can talk about, and Havertz as well. But if I was going to pick anyone, I think I'd straight away go for Declan Rice. I think out of all of the midfielders, I think Declan Rice is by far the best and has been one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the Premier League and probably in Europe this season. He's gone up to another level and no one expected him to get to this height. We all knew he was great at West Ham, but we were like, okay, let's see how he kind of fits into this Arsenal system. But don't get me wrong, he has really shone. He has really taken that Arsenal team by the scruff of the neck and dragged them through so many moments this season. I think about Luton, I think about Chelsea. He has been integral for that side, so I think he has to be in this combined 11. Then onto the other centre midfielders, It's difficult now. Szoboszlai, I think I'd want Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai has been absolutely amazing for Liverpool this season, and he kind of got a lot of hype and a lot of plaudits at the start of the season, and it's kind of died off a bit because I know he had a little dip in form, but it was only a couple of games. But then since then, I think he's been absolutely massive for them. I think you know exactly what you're going to get from him. He's really good going forward, and I think he's really improved as the season's gone on to match the intensity of the Premier League. And defensively, I think he's looked really, really solid. Now, the final position, I think the choices are Odegaard potentially, Curtis Jones, or McAllister. And now the Odegaard one's really difficult for me because he's a player that I've spoken about in many videos in previous seasons, how much I'm obsessed with him. But I think he's really dipped in form this year especially. I don't think he's been up to the level that the rest have. So I think I'm going to leave him out currently. McAllister or Curtis Jones? That is the question. And I'm going to stick with Curtis Jones because I'm really pushing this narrative at the moment. I really like him and I think he should be in that England setup. And I think he kind of gone really unnoticed, kind of the level that he's reached. Because let's be honest, I don't know about you. When Klopp came in and when Klopp first brought him in, I think about that goal he scored against Everton in the Cup and moments like that. And I thought, okay, he's a good player, but I don't think he should be a starter for Liverpool. He's one of those squad players, one of those players that you've got in there because he's come through the youth system, so you kind of allow him to carry on. Kind of like at the time, now I'm not comparing the two now, like an Ollie Skip for Tottenham, a player that's not quite good enough to be at that level, but because they've come through the system, it's kind of, he's one of our own. But Curtis Jones has moved away from that. Now, he's probably one of the, if not the most important midfielder in that team. He has been absolutely massive for them, and I think he should be playing in that England side. So I'm going to have Curtis Jones in there as my midfield three. And now on to the front three. Now, this is where it gets tasty. And I think the biggest problem for Arsenal in this is Arsenal's front three haven't been firing on all cylinders like they have been in previous years. And if you know my combined 11s, I play everyone in their correct position. And I think that's big. That's the biggest part to this. Because when we talk about the right winger, now right wing is Salah or Saka. Now, I feel for Saka in this because Saka is immense. We know how good he is. We know how good he is for Arsenal. We know how good he is for England. And as a player, he's an absolute joke. So he has to be in this team, but he can't be because he's going up against Salah, the man mountain that is Mohamed Salah, the probably one of the, if not the best player in the Premier League this season. This guy is an absolute joke. Assists, goals. He is literally the most efficient player on the wing. He's an absolute joke, and he has been for so many seasons now. So I'm going to have to play Salah on that right-hand side. And that is no disrespect to Saka, because I think Saka is absolutely brilliant, but we all know Salah's just on that next level. And I think Saka can eventually get to that level, maybe not with output, but actual quality-wise. But right now, I don't think they're on the same level. So I'm going to have to put Salah on that right-hand side. Now we're going to scoot over to that left-hand side, and it's your choice of Diaz, potentially, Diaz, Nunes, or Martinelli. Now, Martinelli, for me, last season, this would have been a no-brainer. It would have easily been Martinelli, but I think this season he's not been as great. I don't think he's really suited this kind of change in system that Arsenal have tried to shift things around. I think he becomes isolated quite often on that left-hand side with Zinchenko not joining him, because I think Xhaka quite often moves towards that left-hand side, and Martinelli seemed to be isolated this season. I don't think he's been up to the standard that he'd set himself last year. Maybe it was a purple patch last season, but I think he's definitely at that level. I think he can get back to that height, but right now I don't think he can be in this 11. So I think Diaz or Nunes, as much as I talk about Nunes on this channel and talk about how I'm not fully convinced. The numbers, you can't lie, and his performances have been a lot better. I know against Chelsea, hit the post the woodwork 4 times, which is the record of any player. But I do quite like him. There's something weird about him, and I think a lot of fans are similar with me in this, that you can't keep saying a player's unlucky, and I don't like that as a narrative, because it just means you can't keep being unlucky when you're a footballer. It just means you're not good enough. But there's something about him which I quite like. He's got over 10 goals and 10 assists in all comps this season. He's had a very good start, and I know a lot of those goals will come in the Europa League, but still, it's still a very good record to have. So I'm going to play Nunes on that left-hand side, and then to the striker now, we've got Diogo Jota, or Gabriel Jesus. Now, it's a really interesting one. It depends what you want from your striker. I talk about this all the time. I understand what Gabriel Jesus brings to a side, but to be an elite level striker and to be an elite level club, you need a goal scorer in that number 9. You look at everywhere else in the league, all the other big teams, and you think about all the times that sides have won competitions, they have got that number 9 who bags. And I'm not convinced by Gabriel Jesus as an actual striker, as an out-and-out number 9. I understand what he does defensively, but I think Arsenal, if they're going to really progress, maybe shift him out to that left or the right-hand side and get in a proper number 9, like a Vlahovic or an Osimhen, or Lautaro Martinez. Not that they could sign any of those 3, but I'm saying if they did, that's like the number 9 that they need. So I'm going to go with Diogo Jota. Now, I've spoken about him before. I think he's one of the, if not one of the most clinical strikers in the league, let's be honest. I know he can play sometimes on the left, and that's the weird thing with this system, because when you watch Liverpool play, Nunes and Jota kind of switch throughout the game. So I'm playing Jota up top, but we know he can also play on the wing. So I'm going to stick with Nunes on the left and I'll play Jota up top, because he's been an absolute joke, and I think he's really benefited from Salah not being there. I think he's really stepped up, and we've seen him and Nunes, the two of them together, have been absolutely elite recently, and I think the two of them are going to carry on firing on all cylinders, and I think it's going to be quite a scary front three when they've got Salah to throw into that mix. But that is my combined 11, so I'm going to run it through again for you. So my Arsenal and Liverpool combined 11 without any injuries ahead of this weekend's game. We have got in goal Alisson, right back Trent Alexander-Arnold, centre-backs of Virgil van Dijk and Saliba, left back Andy Robertson, a midfield three of Declan Rice, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, and then a front three on the right. We've got Mohamed Salah. On the left, we've got Darwin Núñez, and up top we got Diogo Jota. Now comment down below any of the players that you disagree with, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Also, my prediction, I'm going 2-1 Liverpool. I thought I'd sneak that in right at the end so no one would notice. But thank you for watching. Please, as I said, like, comment and subscribe, and hopefully you have enjoyed the video. We are nearly at 5k subscribers. We're only 40 away, so please do help us get there. But thank you for watching. BucketHatSam over and out. Thank you. Peace.